Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Hexaorb Sorceress deck profile for February 2024. Moving right along with all of the decks that I wanted to update for the new format change, where the ride deck consists of 4 cards and the main deck consists of 50 cards, for a total of 50 cards for the entire deck. I also wanted to update Hexaorb Sorceress because I kind of missed out with the last couple months when the deck did receive new support from set 12, so never got around to actually updating the deck since there were other decks at the time more focused on than this deck. So very happy with the changes I made since the last update as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck with our starter being Tri-Connect Sorceress, the standard when wrote upon. If you want second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Tier Square Sorceress. When wrote upon by Pentagleam Sorceress, you can counterblast 1 and draw a card. With our Pentagleam Sorceress, when wrote upon by Hexaorb Sorceress, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put them on the top of your deck in any order. That sets up your cards to potentially get triggers easier when you ride into Hexaorb Sorceress, Aquamarine. It's also regarded as Hexaorb Sorceress, so you have the same effects for the ride deck apply to this grade 3. And along with the copy we run in the ride deck, we run 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. With this card, if you Persona Road this turn, it gets Drive +1 and increase your trigger's effects by 10,000 power. So just doubling the power that your triggers would normally give. And when this trigger unit is revealed for the drive check of the battle this unit attacked, you can Soul Blast 1, choose one of your rear guards, and stand it. So as long as you have the soul power to work as well, you have the multiple attacks guaranteed for your Hexaorb Sorceress, Aquamarine, giving you added pressure with a triple drive on top of what this Vanguard can do, for you to be able to attack and at least know you have some trigger units coming to attack with your rearguard units, get the drive check, and then restand them to be able to attack again, along with an additional plus 10,000 power if you Persona Road that turn. And for the grade 2s, for the newest grade 2 added into the deck, 3 copies of Delta Append Sorceress, 1 placed on rearguard from hand if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Sorceress in its card name. Counterblast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, put them into your hand, and put the rest on the top or bottom of the deck. If you Persona Road this turn, choose up to 1 critical or front trigger from your hand, reveal it, and put it on the top of your deck. So along with being able to set up the cards that you revealed off of this card on the top of the deck, you can also place another one from your hand, knowing guarantee that you'll at least have 2 potential triggers on the top of your deck thanks to Delta Append Sorceress. I thought of running a 4th copy of this card. If you were to put in another copy, you can take out any of the next lineup of grade 2s that I run in the deck for their 4 of copies. I would probably recommend keeping in at least the Effulgent Wizard, which I also run 4 copies of. When it attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Sorceress in its card name, look at the top card of your deck. If your Vanguard is stood, you may put the card you looked at into the soul to at least clear out the non-triggers, thanks to this card as well. And when your drive check reveals a trigger unit, this unit gets +5 to end a turn. So on top of the 20,000 you could give to it thanks to your drive check, it gets +5 on its own as well. So if you want to give the power to another rear guard, you can at least have this one gain additional +5 for each trigger revealed. Potentially, if you get 2, getting the +10 off of it also. And also the 4 copies of Octaray Sorceress, 1 placed on rear. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Sorceress in its card name, counterblast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose 2 cards from among them, put them into your hand, put the rest on the top of your deck in any order. If you put 2 cards in your hand, choose a card from your hand, and put it on the bottom of your deck. So if you get up 2 non-triggers in your hand, you can at least get them out of the way thanks to this card. And during the battle, this unit attacked a Vanguard. If you Persona Road this turn, it gets +5,000, having the power to at least be able to attack into your opponent's Vanguard on its own without needing the power of any triggers if your opponent at least didn't get any off of their damage check as well. And also the 4 copies of 4-Side Glow Sorceress from the front row rear guard. Once per turn, when this unit's chosen by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard or Sorceress in its card name, Soul Blast 2, Countercharge 1, and if this unit's power was increased or decreased by a trigger effect, draw a card. So giving this unit the trigger power can also give you a Countercharge 1 for making up for the Soul Blast 2. I may drop this down to a 3 of and put the 4th copy of this as the 4th copy of Delta Append Sorceress, just because it is a pretty big resource to go into with all all the Soul Blast power that you use with your Vanguard on top of this card as well for a Soul Blast of 2. And also for the rest of the grade 2s, 4 copies of Quadracast Sorceress. One placed on rearguard if you have a Vanguard with Sorceress and its card name. Look at the top 2 cards from your deck, put them on the top of your deck in any order, and Soul Charge 1. So I want to keep this card at 4 just because it's your main go-to source for Soul Charging in the deck. So you at least have that constant consistency to have a Soul Blast to use, whether it be for your Hexaorb Sorceress Vanguard, 4-side Glow Sorceress, or the next grade 1 that we run in the lineup as well. And then for the grade 1s, I run 4 copies of Recurring Magic Lalarita. At the end of the battle, your drive check revealed a trigger unit. If your Vanguard is Hexaorb Sorceress, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your other rearguards, stand it, and retire this unit. So at least you have an option if you only revealed the 1 trigger, being able to restand only 1 rearguard. You can use the Recurring Magic Lalarita on the rearguard after it provided a boost to another rearguard to at least have the guarantee that your Vanguard did reveal a drive check trigger, and then being able just to Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and stand the other unit at the cost of retiring this unit. A definite 4-up, so you at least have that guarantee to restand both of your rearguards if you only got the 1 trigger off of your Vanguard's drive check, which with the triple drive, lowers your odds, but still not entirely impossible that that could happen. And also 3 copies of Dragon Tree Wretch Soul to Sakab for this card with your unit being able to, from the back row once per turn, when your rearguard's placed in the front row in the same column as this unit, to Counterblast 1 to draw a card. You really don't get much from the Dragon Tree marker power, but hand consistency to draw into cards that you potentially could have put on the top of your deck to get them out of the way helps to give you cards in your hand to use against your opponent, as well as just being able to make use of the draw consistency to get more important cards into your hand. With the last of the grade 1s being 4 copies of Palladium Zeal Dragon. If you wanted to run Elementary Sanctitude, you could just drop one of the copies of this Sentinel for a copy of that Blitz Order. But the other Regalis piece that we run in the deck is the 1 copy of Gradius Gradel, so we at least have more consistency for going into our Persona Ride, needing that Persona Ride to have the abilities of the extra benefits of our Hexaorb Sorceress Aquamarine. And then for the trigger lineup, I'm kind of splitting the power between the fronts and the criticals with the deck still. So 6 copies of the critical triggers, 4 of them being Blade, Feather, Dragon, to at least give us more soul power, to then provide the Soul Blast power for our Vanguard, and also the 6, or at least with this one being 5, because we do have the over trigger to consider as well. 5 copies of the front trigger, Bard of Heavenly Song Alpac. No draws because you do need the fronts to make full use of the deck altogether, and we have a limit for how many criticals we can run. Having the additional 5k shield as well, thanks to Alpac. And for our heals, the 2 copies of Palpitation Angel and the 1 copy of Tear Sorceress and Invigorate Sage. If you want to go all Palpitation Angel, you can remove these 2. If you're more confident just having the 15k shield that your heal provides instead of the additional power needing these specifications for going up against your opponent, with the over trigger just being the Martinoa to give drive checks to your rear guards as well. You won't get the extra benefits for your Vanguard since your Vanguard has to be the one to perform the drive check, but still an added plus for this card as well. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just a quick update like many of the decks I am doing for the new format change. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.